Back in 2017, I was in a motor racing accident that changed the course of my life forever.
Here we go, on board with Monger. Monger having a look through past as Jamie Sharp goes through on the inside.
Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Now recently I've had a lot of feedback on the videos that we've done so far, and a lot of the questions that I've been getting have been sort of based around, Billy, how do you go about being so positive? How do you live your life? How do you overcome the challenges ahead of you? In today's video I thought I would, dissect a little bit of how I'm able to do the things I do. So hopefully you can realise that it's possible for anyone and you guys can live the same lifestyle too, and you can overcome these things as well.
To the track, they're lining up to be the next Lewis Hamiltons. His success in Formula One is inspiring more and more children to get into motorsport. One 9-year-old from Surrey is already racing competitively.
Billy Monger is being touted as one of the racing stars of the future, and his whole family's life evolves around his racing.
The start of the journey, particularly in the world of sport and motor racing, started when I was a kid. My dad got me into go-karting at the age of 6 years old. He actually bought me my first go-kart when I was 2 years old. He loved motor racing, and yeah, when you buy your kid a go-kart at 2 that he can't drive until he's at least 6 years old, you're pretty keen for him to have a go.
It's terrifying watching them go around at 55 miles an hour. As a mum, it's terrifying, but he loves it so much, so you can't stop him.
That hobby slowly grew into something more than just a hobby. My dad was my mechanic. He looked after the go-kart. He did everything possible to help me prepare in the best way, and I was loving it. By the time I was 10, I was British champion, and then I went onto the world stage and won world championship level races in go-karting.
Oh my word! Dave Wooder has handed Billy Monger another victory.
The next step that comes after go-karting as a result of, you know, that dream to be in Formula One is moving into single-seaters. The next step was into Formula 4. In the first year I had a pole position, podiums, and it all came down to that day, the second round of the season at Donington Park. It was back in April of 2017. It was any other race day. The first thing I remember about that race day is the fact that when we were in the holding pen, we were all on slick, dry tyres. I remember looking up and seeing the clouds look a little bit darker and thinking it could rain here. And being on slick tyres in a single-seater with it raining a little bit, they're the trickiest conditions you can face as a driver, because slick tyres in the rain, you don't get any grip. The race started, I think I was lining up about 6th or 7th, I believe, on the grid. I just remember lights go out, you're into race mode. I was making some passes on the cars in front. I sort of came up the crest of a hill. There was a stationary car that had spun off in those tricky conditions and was parked up on the racing line. I come towards the crest of this hill. The two cars in front of me see this stationary car whilst we're doing about 120 miles an hour at the last minute. They both pull either side of this car, and all of a sudden I just see this car that's stationary as I'm approaching at 120 miles an hour. And next thing you know,
Oh, that's horrendous. That's absolutely enormous. You just couldn't see him.
first thing that went through my mind, it happened so fast that everything sort of just came to a halt. I was a little bit dazed, I guess you could say. You know, the doctors are running over, you know, I could see the red flags out. First thing I can remember is hearing the guy that I hit, who was stationary, screaming in the cockpit. So when the marshals and the doctors sort of came running over, I was like, don't worry about me, go and see him. Because at that point, there's so much adrenaline going through your body that I didn't feel any pain. I was already kind of like ready to undo my seatbelts and to try and jump out. There's no getting away from the fact that when you talk about it, you do then, you know, go back to that moment, and it is a huge life-changing moment that I went through. So I was awake in the car for about 45 minutes after the crash. The doctors had no choice but to put me into an induced coma because they realised they couldn't cut the carbon to get me out of the car this way, so they had to pull the cars apart and then get me out of the car that way. That was on the Sunday early afternoon, like I say, and I woke up about Wednesday evening, I believe, out of my induced coma. So at that point, I'd had my legs amputated. I'd been obviously in that induced coma for all of that. My mum and my dad, my sister, sort of rushed straight to the hospital, and I don't know what stage those amputations happened, but I'm pretty sure it was urgent. Now you wake up out of that induced coma, you're kind of looking down at the end of the bed and you're realising, okay, that something doesn't look right. And then quite quickly, one of my surgeons came in, sort of said to me, we've had to amputate, your left leg above the knee, your right leg below the knee. When they told me like the extent of my injuries, I think subconsciously, because I realised like whilst I was in the car that it was a bad accident, I'd sort of prepared for the worst. So then when I woke up and I sort of heard the worst, or what felt like the worst in that moment, obviously you survived, so that's amazing. And you kind of don't know what life's going to look like after that. I remember having a bit of a cry afterwards in some of the evenings, but there was definitely tears that were shed and sort of wondering what life was going to be like. Those first couple of years after my accident, I kept myself that busy and with that long-term goal and that dream still alive. And that was kind of the point that I was sort of driving towards through those first couple of years. So rather than wallow in what had happened to me and sort of, basically admit defeat, and everything kind of felt focused and centered around getting back in a race car if it was possible and like driving again. Okay, I've lost my legs, but I haven't lost my identity. Did I probably need to speak to someone and sort of, did I have mental battles going on? There's like no doubt about it. There's no way you can have such a traumatic thing happen to you and not have that sort of trauma, those mental battles present. But my accident happened in April of 2017, and I was back competing at a higher level within a year. I think it was 11 months after my accident. We're at Paul Ricard now, you can see in the background. We just done our track walk, had a look at the car. The car looks really smart. I guess what I'm trying to say for anyone that's watching, I guess what I'm trying to get across is, if there's stuff that you love doing and that you feel makes you who you are, if you go through something traumatic, for me, clinging on to the hope that I could potentially still do that stuff again, considering that I'd lost my legs, that was really important to shaping my journey. Those mental battles probably caught up with me more after a couple of years, and then I had to go and face them and to work on that. And it's still something that I'm working on to a certain extent today.
My legs are running out of steam. I can just feel the hills getting like harder and harder.
Come on, girl. Come on. Come on, last time. Come on, buddy, come on.
Oh, that was hard. Everything I've been through just like hit me. I had to use everything. The accident, my family, my friends, all the charities, the people I'm going to make a difference to. It's like usually all out of nowhere. Just came like, flooding in, and that really hit home.
My sort of delve into the world of doing these charitable challenges, and my first challenge for Comic Relief, my why for doing that. After my accident, I had a Just for Giving page that was set up for me. This was whilst I was still in hospital. It was set up by friends of mine, and next thing you know, I'm getting outpourings of support from people that I've never met before, people that I've raced against, my heroes like Lewis Hamilton, Jenson Button, people like this. And, you know, I'm sat in my hospital bed dealing with coming to terms with what I've just gone through, and next thing you know, like, you know, hundreds of thousands of pounds have been raised to help support me recover and get the best quality prosthetics to live a good quality of life. I basically felt indebted to a lot of people, and I wanted to give back and to kind of, you know, pass that goodwill on to others.
Race so far by Billy is... Wow! 2,376,183 pounds! It's unbelievable, Billy!
My first Comic Relief Challenge came at the right time with COVID. It felt like something that I could really do to hopefully raise a lot of money for people that needed it. It changed my life in a lot of ways, actually, that moment of then giving back and realising how powerful that can be. Positivity that I felt when I did that first Comic Relief Challenge, I wanted to feel more of it, and to do something for other people felt like an amazing way to do something epic.
The feeling that you get when you arrive on that island is something like no other.
Welcome to the VinFast Ironman World Championship.
A few of you here might not even know what an Ironman is. It's a 3.8 kilometre ocean swim, then 180 kilometres of cycling, and then you finish off the day by running a marathon. And that's what Kona was. It was, you know, reigniting that inner athlete. I've always been competitive. It was reigniting that competitive side of me and realising that even though, okay, I couldn't express that through racing anymore, I still could find a new way to express that would also benefit others. I learned so much about myself. I feel like I refound a huge part of myself that I'd lost for a long time. Off the back of that being a success and going to plan, I've met some amazing people, had some amazing experiences, to the fact that, you know, I'd lost my legs, and next thing you know, I'm doing an Ironman out in Hawaii at the World Championships, and I'm going for a Guinness World Record and doing this all for Comic Relief and raising millions of pounds in the process.
Yeah, thank you very much, everyone. No, thanks everyone for everything. It's, yeah, been a hell of a journey, and yeah, buzzing to be here. The whole reason for doing this is like how much I love the feeling of knowing what I'm doing, even though it might suck at the time, is helping other people that need Comic Relief's fundraising to be the best version of themselves and to thrive and flourish. Like, yeah, that's what I'll be thinking about.
Refinding that inner competitive spirit that I've always had. I didn't want to go back to being a person that was a little bit lost in life. Doing that challenge for Comic Relief, taking on Kona, made me realise that I am capable of doing amazing things. I wanted to keep being the version of myself that I was probably the most proud of. So that was a huge part of the reason why I wanted to chase, you know, that sporting dream and maybe aim for something even more crazy, which for me is the Paralympics, and to try and go and win a gold medal. That for me, that would summarise a crazy roller coaster of a journey. And I want to keep being able to look in the mirror and be proud of the version of myself that I see when I look in the mirror. I'm right now chasing this dream and, you know, aiming for something crazy like trying to win a medal at a Paralympics. That, for me, ticks those boxes. The whole point of this YouTube stuff for me is to share my experiences and to try and give you guys the tools to be able to take on, you know, the challenges that inevitably you're gonna face in your own lives. If you get up in the morning, you look yourself in the mirror and you're happy with the person that you're on the journey to trying to be. If you can wake up and feel like you're going in the right direction, with whatever challenge you're trying to set yourself, whatever person you're trying to be. That's what life's about. Be happy, chase your dreams, never give up. Something that took me a bit of time to realise, but that's quite powerful in itself, because nothing better than seeing the people around you that you care about go and chase their own dreams too, and if you can be the person that inspires them to do that, then that's a really special feeling. That's it from me. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you have, please like, subscribe. If there's anything that you've learnt from this video or more that you want to see, please leave a comment for us. Really interested to see potentially how it's inspired you to go and chase your own dreams. And I'll catch you guys very soon in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.